So when you're going from A major to the D major like this, it's a lot easier, isn't it, to make this change? And that's one of the reasons, especially when you're a beginner starting out playing guitar. You really want to look for those types of anchors. The chords you're going to be looking at in this tutorial are A major, D major and E major. And those three chords are probably some of my most favourite chords of all time. Let's start by looking at the A major chord. And there are a number of ways of playing the A major chord. And for this tutorial, we're going to look at this particular version here. And as you can see, we're using the first finger, the second finger and third finger on the second fret on the D, G and B string. As for the D major chord, well, this is, I think, probably the most standard way of playing it. First finger and second finger on the G and the high E string at the second fret, and this third finger on the third fret of the B string. And looking at the A major to D major chord transition, you're going to see what this simple technique is that can help you make some of these chord changes a lot smoother. So have a look at this. Here is the A major. Now, if I go up to the D major chord, have a look at the third finger. And have another look. There's the A major chord. And there's the D major chord. And if you're looking really carefully, you'll have noticed that the third finger stays on the fretboard while I take off these two fingers, but then it slides up one fret and then I put the rest of the chord shape down. Now it's that third finger here, that's the anchor. And this is the thing that's helping you stay on the fretboard. So when you're going from A major to the D major like this, it's a lot easier, isn't it, to make this change? And that's one of the reasons, especially when you're a beginner starting out playing guitar. You really want to look for those types of anchors. So the key thing here is this sliding finger. Now it may slide up, meaning going towards you, or it may slide down, meaning going away from you. And this is the finger, as I said before, this is the one that's going to keep you anchored onto the fretboard. So before we move on to the next chord, let's look at how we do this in reverse. So here's the D major chord. So you're going to take off those two fingers, the first and second fingers. The third finger stays anchored on, and then you're going to slide down one fret and put the first and second fingers down like that. Great, isn't it? Just like this. So there's your D. Slide down, put the rest of the chord shape on. So let's practice this together, and we're going to play 2 bars of A and 2 bars of D, and we're going to repeat this 3 times. Okay, this will give you a little bit of practice in getting that third finger there sliding up and sliding down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's have a look at the next major chord in the key of A and see how we can apply this same simple guitar trick to make that chord change as smooth as the A to the D one. So let's have a look now at the D major chord to the E major chord, and you can see the chord shape on the screen. And so obviously this low E is not fretted. Then we're using the second finger and the third finger on the second fret of the A and D string, and the first finger is on the first fret of the G string. Now what do you think is the sliding finger? What is the anchoring finger from that chord to this chord? So let me show you and see if you can spot the slide. 1, 2, 3, 4. So can you see which finger is anchoring you on the fretboard, which finger is sliding up and which finger is sliding down when you make the change? So the sliding finger was this first finger here. So if you look at the D chord here, what I'm doing now, obviously I'm lifting these, the second and the third finger off. The first finger stays exactly where it is until I slide it down 1 fret and then bring the rest of the E chord down into position there. Of course, in reverse, take off, slide up and put these two back on to make the D chord. So let's do a little practice now of going from D major to E major chord, using that first finger as the anchor to slide down to the E chord and up to the D chord. And again, it'll be 2 bars of D, 2 bars of E, and we'll repeat that a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Be careful when playing the E major chord. Now, it's not usually a problem for beginners, but this first finger, if it's not arched properly, then it will often touch the B string and you might get this horrible sound or nothing at all, a very dampened sound. So be careful there. Make sure it's nice and arched so that you are getting a clear sound. And I think the same goes for the A major chord. If you're playing it like this with the first, second and third finger, the third finger can make that buzz a little bit or not ring out if it's not arched enough. And I know I'm guilty of making that mistake on a few occasions. So make sure with both those chords the fingers are nicely arched. Before we go on to the final chord practice here, why don't you check out some of my other guitar chord transition tutorials too. And there are chords in the key of C, chords in the key of F and G and various others too. So go and check them out and do your best to improve your chord changes. And if you look down below in the description, you'll see links to those lessons. So here's a final bit of practice for you using A major, D major and E major. And you'll be playing 2 bars of A, 2 bars of D, 2 bars of E, 1 bar of D and then 1 bar of A. And we'll repeat this a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4. got value out of this lesson, then why not hit the like button and the subscribe button, and you'll get more content like this for beginner guitarists. More practice transitioning between A major, D major and E major. Why don't you check out my cover tutorial of Elvis Presley's All Shook Up. It uses A major, D major and E major, and it's really good practice for you. Plus, it's also a really great song. Thanks for joining me today. Happy strumming.